What up, though? All praises go to the Most High, man. It's your boy Trill, man. And today, I'm inspired to talk about one of my favorite people in history. I ain't gonna lie, real talk. His name Mansa Musa. You feel me? So, he was African. He from West Africa. He was from West Africa. Now, hold up, before we start, this dude was alive a long ass time ago. Let's start with that. He was alive, I don't even remember, 300 AD, 500 AD. Like, he was the emperor of, he was the emperor of Mali. You know what I mean? So, he did so much, for the people of Mali. Like, Mali is Western Africa, you know what I mean? And back then, when Mansa Musa came into, his kingship, his emperor status. So Mansa is just the African word. Well, not even the African word. It was the Mali word for king. You know what I mean? So his name was Musa. You know what I mean? But any king who comes into the title, comes into the throne, they put Mansa in front of it. So Mansa Musa. So, this back when Africa was in their glory. This before they got conquered, raped, pillaged, all that one shit. You feel me? Like, this when they was them ones. You know what I mean? So, he loved God. He was a Muslim. So he praised Allah, the Most High. Still, we always say that the Most High got 72 different names. This one, everybody was calling the Most High Allah. So, you know what I mean? He was a great leader, great general. You know what I mean? He was just one of them ones, but he was brilliant, y'all. He was brilliant. Like, back then, man, salt was worth down there like what gold was worth. Like, salt might have had equal value as gold. And this nigga had all the salt and all the gold. Like, real talk. Dog was rich as hell. So, how he got so famous and so well known was on his pilgrimage to Mecca. Now, any Muslims out there, y'all already know, like, it's like how Christians get baptized, Muslims want to go to Mecca. You know what I mean? It's like a spiritual thing. Like, it's like one of them things, like, man, if you ever get the chance to do it, you got to go to Mecca, rub the rock. They got the sacred rock in Mecca. Boom, it's like the highest honor if you a Muslim. So when he went to Mecca, man, this nigga was so rich. He had like 1,200 camels full of gold. Had like 5,000 people. He's so rich, dog. The nigga had people just carry him. Like, he had his big ass throne, and people just carried him on the throne. Like, real talk, man. Nigga was so rich, y'all. So if he had money in this day's time, like, he probably would have been a trillionaire. Like, on his own, his kingdom would have been worth $1 trillion. You know what I mean? He was a good ruler, y'all. Like, he did for all his people. All his people loved him so much. He spread out, conquered other things. You know what I mean? He expanded his kingdom tremendously. You know what I mean? The kingdom of Mali. And, he was a very noble guy. You know what I mean? Like, when he went to Mecca, he literally made it rain everywhere he went. Like, he literally made it rain gold. He literally was paving the roads in gold. Like, some real movie shit. Dog Life really was a movie. So, when he got to Egypt, right? Egypt was on the way to Mecca. So, when he got to Egypt, dude spent so much money and gave away so much money. Not just spent so much money, he gave away so much money that literally he fucked up their economy. Like, gold, the value of gold went down because he was spreading the shit out so much. You know what I mean? So just imagine if a loaf of bread was 2 gold shingles. This nigga done gave away so much gold that the price of the bread done went up to 10 gold shingles. You know what I mean? Because the gold was way more abundant. This nigga had all the gold, y'all. Like, this nigga had so much gold, y'all. And so much salt. And salt was the gold back then. He had all type of other stuff. So, boom. When he was in Egypt, though, one of the noble things, one of the most greatest things that left a big impression on me, you know. He was a real God-fearing man. He bowed to no man, like no man. And the thing back then, you know, the pharaohs, when you go in their town or whatever, you gotta bow to them. Especially Egypt, you know, they was in that one type of time. You know, them niggas think they got. You know, them niggas was on their God journey, on their God path. So just imagine how the pharaohs was. So the pharaoh wanted dog to bow to him, you feel me? Wanted Mansa Musa to bow to him. So Mansa Musa, richer than this nigga, more powerful than this nigga, but he was humble. He was humble, you know, he had humility. He exuded humility, even to niggas that was less than him. But he told dog straight up, man, I bow to no man but God. That's what he told his people when the niggas sent the messengers and all that. Like, bow to him. Man, I bow to no man but God. But, like I said, he was brilliant. He was so smart. He like, you know what, boom. I'm going to go before him and I'm going to bow to Allah, though. I'm going to bow to the Most High. Like, so when he did do the act, his intentions was, I'm bowing to God. You know what I mean? I'm bowing to the Most High, you know? And that's one thing that I really found, like, that was a very, very, you know, distinguished character trait. Because dog could have brought smoke to them niggas, man. Let's be real, bro. Let's be real. He could have sent, you know, camels be fast for real. See, our perception, we think camels might be slow. No, these camels be fast like horses and shit. So he could have ducked off in the, man, I'm going to tell y'all in a second. He could have ducked off in the desert somewhere, sent some camels, and he had hella niggas with him. But he still had a crazy-ass army in Mali. He could have sent a couple messengers back. And, you know, they had pigeons. You know how they got the carrier pigeons and stuff? He could have sent some birds back with a letter. Had all them niggas come over there deep as hell, conquer Egypt. That's how much power dog had. Real talk. He could have conquered Egypt. But he didn't do that. He like, no, man, I'm a peaceful king. I'm a peaceful man. I'm God. I'm loving. You know, I praise the Most High. I praise Allah, you know, so I don't want to start no disturbance when it ain't needed, you know. So he said, you know what? I'm going to do this act, but when I do it, my all intentions and my all mind, my whole body, my whole soul, my alignment is going to be with bowing to Allah, you know, to kneeling to Allah, you know. So he did it, you know, and we got to understand that sometimes you're not bowing to the man, you bowing to God. Always. You know what I mean? Always. Sometimes you gotta put that pride down, man. Put that pride to the side, man. And you gotta use that brain, man. And you gotta be humble. You gotta use your humility. You know what I mean? He knew I never bow to no nigga. I never bow down to no nigga. But I will bow down to Allah, you know what I mean? I will bow down to the Most High, you know what I mean? And sometimes you just gotta keep that in your mind, you know, when some of these things is happening and it's bringing all that pride out of you, and you know you can fuck a nigga. Like, you know you can do somebody bold, you know you can win. You know you got all the resources, you got all the killers behind, you got all everything, but sometimes you just gotta bow down gracefully, man, to the Most High. Because sometimes, you know, war is never the way. You know what I mean? But boom, that was one of his things. And then, when he was furthering his pilgrimage to Mecca, this nigga so rich, y'all. He built an oasis. Like, you gotta walk through the deserts. You gotta walk through the deserts of Africa and of, you know, Iraq and all that stuff, deserts and all that stuff. Touch like Egypt and Iraq. Egypt is in Africa, man. Let's get this. This is a fact, man. Egypt is in Africa. Everybody always wanna, like, I done heard people say some of the most crazy things, man, benign things, like stuff that I just couldn't even believe. Like, people literally telling me Egypt ain't in Africa. I think is y'all retarded. Like, y'all don't got no map, nigga. Egypt is in Africa, you feel me? And Iraq, Iran, all that stuff, it's touching Africa. Like, it's right there. Like, you know what I mean? So you gotta walk through all that to get to Mecca. So boom, He walked through all this deserts. He got all these wives and stuff. You know, back then, you know, they got concubines. They got wild dog probably had 4,500 wives or something crazy. But his main wife, though, you know, she like, man, I need to take a bath. They in the middle. It's a real woman for you, dog. We walking through the middle of the desert, man. She like, nigga, I need a bath, nigga, straight up. And dog had so much pool and so much resources. He had his people build her an oasis. Like, he probably, how the word oasis even came into fruition. Like, he built her a bath in the middle of the desert. Like, literally made them niggas shovel the sand, make a bath, make a pond, lake, whatever you want to call it, make a body of water, you know, for his wife to bathe in, you know what I mean? And back then, that was like unheard of, to say the least. Like, that was crazy, you know what I mean? And then when he got to Mecca, once again, he fucked up the economy. Like, dude was a different type of rich, y'all. He was a different type of rich. He probably was the richest person ever on this planet Earth, for real. More rich than Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all these people. Mark Zuckerberg, like, he was richer than all these people, for real, for real. And the crazy thing is, he probably was way more humble than all these people. Like, dude was a real humble king, you feel me? And he was a scholar, you know what I mean? He built the city Timbuktu that everybody know about. You know, the city that was full of the world's best libraries and all that stuff. It was where the first colleges and all that, like all type of stuff. Dude had the first colleges in the world, literally, y'all. Like, for real, for real. Like, all the scholars came to Timbuktu because it was so rich and the culture was so vibrant, you know what I mean? Like, because he had traveled the world himself, you know what I mean? Well, not the whole world. He traveled most of the known world at that time, you know what I mean? Him and his people, him and his entourage. So, it's like, Mansa Musa, man, the biggest inspiration that he ever gave me, for real, was that you can be rich and humble. You know what I mean? You can have love and money. You know what I mean? You can find the balance in it all. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us think the only way to get to the top is being so evil and cruel, and you gotta have this cutthroat mentality and early bird get the worm. Because guess what? When he came into his Mansa leadership in his kingdom of Mali, it wasn't the richest kingdom. Like, he made it there. It wasn't the biggest kingdom. He made it there. Like, don't get me wrong, they wasn't no slouches either. But dog turned them up. He turned them up, and through his whole time, he remained humble. You know what I mean? So, all y'all, man, if you feel inspired, man, go do some research on Mansa Musa, man. I'm pretty sure I left out a lot of facts, man, real talk, but love y'all, man. Good thoughts, good vibes in a minute.